48.4%. Write that number down because that number just ended an argument that has been running for 100 years, for over a century. Since the very first gasoline engine coughed to life, engineers in Germany, in Japan, in Detroit, in every great car nation on Earth have been chasing one single holy number: thermal efficiency. How much of the fuel you pour into the tank actually turns into motion instead of getting blown out the exhaust as wasted heat. And for 100 years, that number has crawled, inch by inch, decade by decade. A single percent was a triumph worth a press conference. The best engine Toyota ever mass-produced, the company that builds more cars than anyone alive, the company whose name is a synonym for engineering, tops out around 41-42%. Nissan, same. The Germans, same. That was the ceiling. That was the wall nobody could break. 42%, and the door was locked. And then, on April 13th, 2026, a Chinese company walked up to that 100-year-old wall and put a number on the board that made every engineer in Tokyo, Stuttgart, and Detroit go quiet: 48.4%. The company is Geely. And they didn't just claim it. They didn't put out a press release and hope. They handed the engine to Guinness World Records, the actual Guinness, and Guinness independently verified it. Most efficient mass-produced combustion engine ever made on planet Earth in the entire history of the automobile. And the fuel economy that comes with it: 105 miles per gallon. I'll let that sit. 105 miles per gallon from a gasoline car. The pickup in your driveway does maybe 20. Your buddy's efficient sedan does 40 on a good day. Geely just built a powertrain that does 105, and they're not putting it in some science fair concept. They're putting it in cars you can buy. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly how they did it, why Toyota and the entire West got left standing at a wall they thought couldn't be broken, and why this one number might be the most important thing to happen to the gasoline engine in 50 years. Stay with me. Let me talk to you straight because you've earned it. You've spent your life around engines. You know that efficiency doesn't come easy. You know that every single percent of thermal efficiency is a knife fight. You fight friction, you fight heat, you fight knock. You fight the laws of physics themselves. You know that when somebody tells you they jumped 6% past Toyota in one move, your gut says, prove it. Good. Keep that gut, because that skepticism is exactly why the Guinness verification matters. This isn't a number Geely shouted at a trade show. This is a number an independent world authority put a stamp on. So let's look at what's actually behind it. First, what does thermal efficiency even mean for you? In your garage? In plain English, every drop of gasoline holds a fixed amount of energy. When you burn it in an engine, only some of that energy turns the wheels. The rest is lost, blown out the tailpipe as heat, bled off into the radiator, eaten up by friction. Your average gasoline-only car, it only uses about 25 to 35% of the fuel's energy. The rest, 65-70% of every gallon you pay for, is literally thrown away as heat. You are buying a gallon of gas and setting 2/3 of it on fire for nothing. So when Geely says 48.4%, they're saying almost half of every drop of fuel becomes actual motion. That's not a small improvement. Compared to a normal car burning 30%, that's a different universe. That is why the fuel economy hits 105 miles per gallon. The engine is simply wasting far, far less. Now here's the comparison that should stop every car guy cold. Formula One. The pinnacle of motorsport. The engines that cost tens of millions of dollars, built by the best engineers humanity can produce, with budgets bigger than small countries. Those F1 power units run at just a little over 50% thermal efficiency. That's the peak of human engine building, 50%, with unlimited money and no requirement to last more than a few races. Geely's engine, a road car engine that has to start every morning, idle in traffic, run for 150,000 miles, survive winters and summers, and cost normal money, hit 48.4, a road car, 2% away from Formula One. Let that land. The thing in a Chinese family sedan is now breathing down the neck of a multi-million-dollar Grand Prix engine. That gap used to be a canyon. China just turned it into a crack in the sidewalk. So how did they actually do it? Because this is where it stops being a headline and becomes real engineering. Geely calls the system i-HEV, a hybrid system. A hybrid system. And that word, hybrid, is the key to the whole trick. So listen close. A normal engine has to do everything: idle, accelerate, cruise, climb hills, sit in traffic. And an engine can only be truly efficient in one narrow band of operation, one sweet spot of RPM and load. The rest of the time, out of that sweet spot, it's wasting fuel. That's the curse of the combustion engine. It spends most of its life operating inefficiently because the road demands it. Geely's i-HEV breaks that curse. The gasoline engine is freed from having to drive the wheels directly all the time. Instead, electric motors handle the messy stuff, the stop and go, the low-speed crawl, the bursts. And the gasoline engine gets to do the one thing it's best at, run at its perfect efficiency, sweet spot, almost all the time, generating power. They've also layered in AI-based algorithms that constantly manage the flow of energy, deciding moment to moment whether the engine drives, charges, or rests, to squeeze out every last drop. So it's not one magic part. It's the engine designed from the ground up to live in its sweet spot, plus electric assist, plus smart software, all working as one. That combination is how you punch through a wall that pure combustion engineers spent 100 years stuck behind. And here's the kicker. Geely says this works across their engine family. The 1.5 liter, the 2.0 liter, and it's rolling out across real high-volume models. The Preface sedan, the Manjaro SUV, the M Grand, the Boyu. Not a halo car locked in a museum. Mass market cars in 2026. Now, the honest part, because I will not insult you with pure hype, that 48.4% is a peak figure, the best the engine does in its ideal operating window, not the number it holds every second of every drive. Real-world, all-around efficiency is lower, the way your highway mileage beats your city mileage. The 105 miles per gallon is on the testing cycle, and your actual mileage will vary with how you drive. That's true of every car ever rated, but it's fair to say it out loud, and Geely isn't the only one. This is the part that should really make the West sweat. They're not a lone genius that got lucky. Dongfeng, another Chinese maker, built the world's first hybrid engine to break 48% before this, certified at 48.09. BYD has claimed over 46. There's an entire pack of Chinese companies right now, all clustered around the highest efficiency numbers in automotive history, racing each other past the rest of the planet. That's the story. It's not one record. It's a whole country that decided to win the efficiency war and is now lapping the companies that used to write the textbooks. So where is everybody else in this picture? Toyota, the gold standard, the company everyone points to, sits around 42% on its best hybrid engines. Genuinely excellent engineering, years of work, and it's now several points behind a Chinese company that 20 years ago was building cars the entire world laughed at. Nissan, with its e-power system, same range, low 40s. The Germans, low 40s. And America? Our mass market engines mostly live in the low to mid 30s on a good day. We have brilliant engineers. We have the history. We invented the moving assembly line. We put the world on wheels. But the running, certified, world record production engine, verified by Guinness, sitting at 48.4%. It's not in Detroit. It's not in Tokyo. It's not in Stuttgart. It's in China. This is the exact same movie we watched with batteries, with solar panels, with drones. The West invents the technology, writes the papers, holds the patents, and somewhere between the lab and the production line, the lead quietly walks across the Pacific, and we find out about it from a record certificate we have to translate. So, what does this actually mean? Let me give it to you straight, both sides. Here's what it does not mean. It does not mean your V8 is illegal tomorrow. It does not mean gas stations vanish. Internal combustion is going to be around for a long, long time. But here's what it does mean, and it's bigger than one engine. For years, the West's entire argument was that the gasoline engine was a dead end, that it had hit its ceiling, that there was nowhere left to go, so we might as well ban it and go all electric. That was the whole logic behind Europe's 2035 combustion ban. The engine is finished. It can't get better. China just proved that's wrong. They just showed the engine had a whole other gear nobody had unlocked. Almost 50% efficiency, 100+ miles per gallon. Carbon emissions slashed not by killing the engine, but by perfecting it. While the West was busy writing the engine's obituary, China was busy giving it a second life, and now owns the technology that does it. That's the part that should keep Detroit and Brussels up at night. It was never just about whether you, personally, buy a hybrid. It's about who owns the next chapter of the most important machine of the last 100 years. And right now, the name on that chapter, the world record, certified, in black and white is Geely, is China. So here's what I want from you. Honest answer in the comments, one line. Did the West just give away the engine? The actual engine, the thing we invented, the same way we gave away batteries and solar, quietly, while we were busy declaring it dead? Yes or no? Then tell me why, especially if you spent your life with a wrench in your hand, especially if you remember when Made in China was a punchline, because the most efficient engine ever built now has that label on it and you know it. If this broke it down in a way the buff magazines wouldn't touch, hit like, subscribe. We track exactly this. Real specs, real records, real names, called straight every single week, while everyone else chases last year's headline. 48.4%. Guinness verified. The most efficient engine ever made. And it didn't come from Tokyo or Stuttgart or Detroit. Remember that. I'll see you in the next one.